Francesco Nilia, he's going to be the main expert for today. He has a PhD in complex systems engineering. He's a research director of COISLab. He worked for about 20 years as a consultant for technology transfer. He works on responsible innovation, modeling of innovation ecosystem and strategies. He also works as a reviewer for the European programs or European projects under Horizon Europe program, and is also an associated researcher at the Link Campus University in Rome. I'll give him the floor in just a minute, but just to explain a bit of the context of this webinar, how did we get here, why this topic, what will we be talking about? So this webinar is happening within the Innovative Sustainable Economy of Interreg Euromed, series of training sessions. We try to take what we also learn and do internally within the mission with different thematic projects working on diverse topics, and then bring it to some external stakeholders. So we try to build up on some previous trainings and debates we already had. So this training today is also a follow-up to training that we had in September, which was focused on business models and investment readiness for thematic projects. We're going to have 3 thematic projects also presenting today. And the idea and the mission of this training is to really bring some of the outputs, some of the learnings we have within the ISE missions to external stakeholders to be able to maybe then apply to your context, but also to just highlight some common challenges that we're facing across the Mediterranean region. The today's session will be, as I said, 2 hours long. We will start with some theory, but we will also bring in some real-world Mediterranean case studies. We will also have an overview of Definite CCRI tool. And we will also have some questions for you and some bits of interactive interaction with you. So be ready for that, either with your mobile phones, or you can also use your computers for that. And as I said, the main host of today will be Francesco Nilia. So I will give him the floor in just a minute. Here is the overview of the whole agenda, with possibly a tiny break in the middle, but we'll see how we're doing time-wise. But before we get into the presentation itself, here is the first part where we wanted to have you participate a little bit. So you can either scan the QR code that you can see on the screen, or you can also just simply go to the wooclub.com website and there put the event code, and it should bring you directly to the session that I have to now start. So I'll give you just a few more seconds to either scan the QR code or use the event code, and then I will stop sharing this and open the questions themselves. Okay, so I will stop sharing this now. And share the questions. So by now you should see the questions. So the first one, yes, it's a multiple choice. So we gave you a lot of options there, but just vote for whichever best describes the type of organization that you represent. So we know a bit who's in the room, what type of organizations that come today to join us. I see some votes already, but we can wait for some more. Okay, for now we have academic and research institutes and private company. So let's see if there's, okay, also network of local or regional authorities. Yes, as my colleague also put in the chat, if there's any technical issues, you can also try to talk with us in the chat. If you're not signed in to these questions yet, you can use the wooclub.com address and put in the code that you can see on top of the screen. Okay, maybe let's give it like at least 3 more votes. and then we'll move to the next questions. So I don't see any NGOs for now or consultancies. So we have mainly academic and research institutes. Anybody else? Okay, I see a few more people joining. Okay, one more vote and then we'll go to the next question. Okay. Okay, so overwhelmingly for now, we have academic and research institutes with us. Good to know. And so the next question is about what topic are you interested in learning about today? So I guess you have some idea of what this webinar should be about. You saw the name, maybe you saw the agenda or the description. But here you have some specific topics that we would be interested to know which one of those are most interesting for you. Maybe at the end we can go back to this, see if we fulfilled those expectations. If we really showed you what you expected to see, or maybe what topics we should give a bit more time to if as we're going through today's webinar, so for us to know what really brought you here and what's the most interesting for you. Okay. So it really seems like the real case studies are winning for now.
Eksik varsa lütfen bana bildirin.
Okay, so more than half of the people who signed in voted, but still, can we can have a few more votes before we move to the next question? But still, the real case studies are winning, but also the practical advice from real projects, which I think is very connected to the real case studies, and how to shape financial readiness criteria. We might learn about that in a minute. Okay, let's go quickly to the next question. And this is a different type of question. This is a word cloud. So here we just want you to, if there are some specific challenges that you're facing in your projects, in your work, that you keep coming across, you should be able to just normally write, and yes, we're getting some answers. Continuing finance. Okay, trying to decipher that. But yeah, I mean all the no problem about the noise. All the important work, yeah, finances and continue. That's the main topic of today. How do we continue with these projects once maybe the grants are no longer there? How do we engage good stakeholders? Yes. Scaling up, yeah, that's also a very interesting topic. Continuing, yes. Exchange good practices. We hope to exchange some good practices today. Good. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, scaling up is coming up bigger, okay. Yes, alternatives to public funding. Yeah, I think some of these challenges we will address very soon in the presentation. And so now we can skip to the last question for the moment. And that's about what stage is your circular economy project at? So maybe not all of you, but I suppose a lot of you are working on some circular projects. Maybe you're thinking about scaling up or how to make them bankable. So just to know at what stage you're at, what type of advice may then be useful for you at this stage. Okay, I see some early implementation projects there. That's nice. Okay, let's give it maybe 2-3 more votes, and then we will finally go to Francesca's presentation, so that we also start giving you some food for thought. Okay, so I see the early implementation is still leading, but we also have some planning phase now. Okay, so we don't have an established project yet, but all the other phases or stages are presented with the most recurring as the early implementation phase. Okay, well, thanks a lot for participating. We will still try to interact with you a bit later in the presentation. There will also be some times for questions after different speakers' presentation. But for now, I will finally give the floor to Francesco Nilia, who will start with the first point of agenda. So what makes circular projects bankable? And you have the floor, Francesco. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And good afternoon all. And tell me just that you see my screen, otherwise it will be a mess.
Yes.
You see the screen?
Yes.
That's perfect. So let's go a little bit speed because we are 5 to 7 minutes late. So we will, this first part before the real projects, we will make a short recap and what is required for bankability of projects. So we will check what makes circular project bankable. We will discuss about real projects and definite CCR walkthrough and also your voice at the end of this session. So what makes circular projects bankable? We have to make a short introduction, a short recap. You know, short recap, this is from the previous training, just a short recap. When we have to talk, this is good also both for private investors than for banks. Just consider that banks are also private investors with some public investment. However, we have to remember that investors recognize the potential for financial returns and social impact. This is much more important for the circular economy. And when they plan to, to fund and to support the circular economy project, they also want to check how much innovative is the business model. And that should have a clear path to profitability. However, let's go point by point. When we have to be appealing to a bank or to a private investor, we have to remember a strong business models and market validation. So a clear value proposition, an analysis, demonstration of market size and growth potential, scalability, so ability to expand operation, viability of revenue model, and customer acquisition strategy. Either if we want to go to understanding and analysis of financial performance and projection. The efficient capital allocation is one of the requirements for investors and bank. But most for all, we have to focus on realistic financial projection in the medium, short to medium and medium term, in positive unit economics, possibly in the short term, and in having also the clear evidence of the needs and the use of the needs of the investment and the use of funds. And this is both for banks, again, and for private investors. Also, when we talk about the impact measurement and reporting, the impact metrics should be quantifiable in the projects and in the initiatives on circular economy if you want to get some money. And also data collection and reporting. It's important they have to you have a system, a valid and reliable system for data collection and transparent system. Alignment with the standards. This is also another important element. So there are several elements. And very, very important is also to provide evidence and convince about the governance and management team. So banks and investors, again, ask for experienced teams with clear role responsibilities, with a clear commitment to sustainability, potentially with an advisory board. Just considering these 4 elements, you can somehow recognize the same elements the Commission has in the proposal, in the projects. when they ask when we ask for funding, for public funding, because there is innovation, there is the impact creation, there is the team, there is also the work plan. These are, with the due scale up on bankability, the same elements that we are used to see when we ask for, again, for public money, but this is again also good for private money. The difference is that if you want to get some private money, you need to be very, very, very convincing. This is very important. So let's go to the other slides. This is a recap from the first training. So what makes a circular economy project bankable? Circular economy project becomes bankable when they address the specific financial and operational concerns that are roughly the same that I've just exposed before.
Francesco,
and when tell me,
I still see the agenda slide and not it hasn't moved since that slide. Okay, now it's moving. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Pardon. I have two monitors. That's my problem. I was working. I really apologize. So, what makes a circular economy project bankable? Okay, they address specific financial and operational concerns that are the same about the financial performance and projection and strong business models that I have discussed. And also, they have to translate the impact into benefits, into money. So when we talk about the impact, the analysis of the impact and key performance indicators and data collection and reporting, these positive impact must be translated in positive income. And then also they have to gain credibility when technical and market risk are shared. So when there is a management team that shares all the risks, not only all the duties, it's very important. Also, when a project brings a lot, not a lot, but several stakeholders that are keen to share risk, this is again a strong point for bankability. Some key factors. I don't understand. No, I'm trying to. Okay. Some key factors are for bankability are proven cash flow and unit economics, manageable and well mitigated risk, because risk could be technical risk, economic risk, and also timing risk and development risk. And strong collateral or guarantees must be put in place for investors and even for banks. And scalability and replicability in other markets, so markets other than the one that is going to be piloted with your circular economy idea. The alignment with regulation and policy incentives, this is very, very important. Policy could be whatever kind of policy that supports or is aligned with the projects. We're talking about green policies, or even funding policies. Governance and capable team, we have already discussed it, and bankable documentation and transparency. So transparency means that you have to set up a quantifiable impact metrics and gathering of all the data collection and reporting and all the transparency of performance of your project idea and the use of funds. These are the 7 main elements for bankability. There are so many other elements for bankability, but these are the same 7 main ones that are most interesting to be discussed and even deepened. And okay, now we are a little bit running. Now, how can a project, an initiative on circular economy, can perform a kind of self-assessment? So there are several existing self-assessment tools you can access online with or without some registration or paying a little fee. So this is the circle or the circular economy tools that about the business model readiness. The circular economy, circular assessment, so about the maturity, the circle scan, circle transition indicators, and there are also the available EU taxonomy and impact tools on ESG that are can be applied for circular economy project. What are they for? Let's say make self-awareness. So for projects to be aware about the investment readiness. So on several key dimensions, depending on the information that you have on the project and the reliability of the information that you gather from your project or your initiative, you can decide to use one or the other tools, one of these or the other tools. So again, what are they for? They translate the circularity features into financial drivers that are very important for, again, for the private investors, for banks. So CapEx, OpEx, lifetime value. And also these kind of tools help you to provide a checklist for investor expectation. So you can be ready in finding and meeting investors and finding investors and providing them at least the basic information they need or they are asking for. So governance, market validation, economics, and also these monitoring tools support you in track the progress with dashboards, more or less difficulty, more or less complex, but you can find several of these kind of dashboards. And then some of more refined of these online tools will help you to build an investor-ready summary. That is very useful. These are available tool. There is this slide. I'm sure, Susanna, you will share with all. There are the links of the tools that I have been just discussed. Okay, so interested people can link here. Now, these are the other available tools. So the VBCD, EU taxonomy, and all the links. I'm just going to skip saying that these tools exist, and these are the links, and any interested people can connect. Some key assessment criteria. So financial viability, scalability potential, revenue model clarity, and resource requirements. Financial viability. It's the circular project ability to generate cash flow, repay financing, and deliver acceptable returns. This is a criteria to be followed with some evidence. I go a little bit fast on this since we are 15 minutes later. You can ask, there are some assessment criteria here suggested for financial model, sensitivity scenario, and some key questions you can ask yourself for answering to these criteria of bankability. This is for the other, also the other key assessment criteria. So scalability potential, is it the project ability to grow in volume, geographically, on the product range, or losing, and without losing quality. And which are the key questions for you are, can the model be replicated? Does the unit cost decrease, stable or not? Is there any operational bottleneck? And then revenue model clarity. How clear and reliable the project converts the circular activities to revenues? The question you have to ask yourself is, what exactly are customers paying for? This is one of the main questions for all. Who pays, how much, how often? How does the circular offer compare in price and value? And the last criteria is resource requirements. Is financial, human, material, and technical resources, if they are available in your project? So What is the total investment? What kind of skills, staff profiles, partners are essential? Any critical inputs, external but here internal inputs, and which kind of support is required at each stage? So once you have solved all these questions for all the for these four key criteria, you can start assessing realistically how much is bankable your project. I can show here a very simplified model assessment framework that is based only on 3 elements that is very good for funded projects like thematic projects. That is, basic elements are maturity level, so how much the business model, how much leverage a circular economy solution, customer value and resource circular strategy, defining why customers choose you and how you deliver the added value, scalability and risk sharing perspectives, so how you allocate resources. Maybe I will not go on all the slides if you agree, because you're a little bit late. So you can find here for each of these 3 criteria, which is the key question you have to answer to yourself. So in this case, for the maturities, what key operational process partnership of technologies are in development missing or not yet at sufficient readiness level? So if there is any one of these elements here, you have to reconsider how much your idea is mature for be bankable. And this is here I have included the TRL, but I can skip if you are interested in understanding which is the TRL level of your circular economy solution. Then impact measurement and transparency. So which impact metrics do you use? Which are the ones too hard to track? Where is the collection of data is not good or inadequate? That is a gap you have to solve in case. And these are the list of potential KPI to be tracked in your circular economy project or initiative. Value attraction, what are specific customer needs are not fully met? This is the other question that you have to try to answer. And what evidence on market adoption is lacking? And customer results, which design elements are missing? Which resource loop are not yet defined? So this is a very simplified framework, respect of the whole frameworks that you can find online, where you will be asked to answer to, let's say, 100 of questions. This is very simplified one. Again, I repeat, this is good for projects like your project, but still it works. And scalability and perspective, viability, so which financial assumptions are weakest, or which are the primary barriers to achieving positive impact. Now, once you have, I'm just to skip because we are running a little bit late, there is the risk sharing here hypothesis, then you can use this one. I mean, the experience gives you a maturity level at 40% of the overall score of your maturity level. 35% is for customer value and resource circular strategy, and 25% is on scalability and sharing perspective. These are only weights of the relevance of these 3 elements provided by the experience, but nothing can, you know, how to say, you can choose your own relevance. But this roughly is very good for, it's good approximation for all the projects. And then you can give a score for each of your level. And if there is an investment ready, you can give an upper level that could be on percentage or in a scale to 1 to 5 or a score of 4 or 5. Or if you require development is a lower level like 1 or 2. And when you assign the level, you can have your score and decide how much you know, how much really is your project. This is one of the tools that I use when I start analyzing a project at the very beginning. Real project, real challenges. Then we have the experience from thematic projects. Susanna, we are in time, right?
Yes, I think, yeah, we were a little behind the schedule.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I'm trying to be fast as possible.
But yeah, it's not your fault. It was also some technical issues at the beginning. But yes, we've arrived to the point of the thematic projects. I think we're okay for now.
Okay, so it's important that this slide will be shared with all the participants, right? So they can check everything. See? So
Yes.
then we now just start talking and share the experience from thematic projects at Dupi Blue, Smart Med, and Carbon Farming Med. Sorry. These three projects one is boosting the blue biotechnology community in the Mediterranean area. In the Mediterranean, sorry, that works on strategic alliance and improve regional policies. Green Smart Med is on methodology that make a significant contribution to green growth, and Carbon Farming Med is developing a science-based, business-oriented solution to enhance profitability and bankability. You can learn much more of these projects once in 1 minute. The speakers will talk about. So the presentation for this project is based on 10 minutes about the business model, the value proposition, the road to investment, the main barriers they encountered, and some questions and to gather feedback from the community. We start from Dupi Blue. The business model and the key value is the use of the alga to cleanse water, providing higher efficiency on cleansing water in ports and with a very price competitive. They are halfway because they are piloting a TRL 5 to 6 and they are closing agreements with ports. They have some technical issues. There are some competitors in the market, not with the same solution, but with assessed market. They have to enter this kind of market. Now I leave the floor to the speaker, Dupi Blue.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present this project. The project is indeed called Dupi Blue. It's about boosting the blue biotechnology in the Mediterranean. And this project has different stages. One of them is to develop these pilots or case studies in some demo sites around the Mediterranean. One of them is in Spain, but we have others in Slovenia, in Italy, in Greece. In France, we are going to present today one that is based in Alicante, in Spain, and this is called the Bioremed algae. Okay, as you mentioned before, the objective of this pilot is to develop a new technology, a new innovation solution to cleanse the water in different areas. Specifically, now we are testing this pilot in the port waters of Alicante, but it could be also used in other areas, even in inland aquaculture facilities. Okay, the thing is that meanwhile you are cleaning these waters with this algae, you produce this byproduct. The algae has some value, and this is where the circular concept is coming from. Okay, please, next slide. Well, the value proposition is mainly that we have a sustainable and cheaper solution than the competence. Okay, the market now have different strategies to reduce this pollution in the port waters. Mainly, they are like regulatory or tax incentives, but and also these are very easy for the ports to use because it's like some regulation. But once they have done this, and mostly they are in this stage, then they need to start thinking what are we going to do next to reduce these pollutants. That we are talking about different nutrients like nitrogen or phosphorus, and also heavy metals. So now we have the opportunity to test these biotechnologies, blue biotechnologies, and one of them is these macro algae facilities that create this algae, cleans the water, and with this algae, the company can sell this algae for different purposes, from medicines, nutrients, cosmetics, and everything. This is also has a higher efficiency than other treatments, similar treatments like water treatments. So we think that we have a value proposition that is very appealing for these ports or the end users. Please, next slide. Thank you. Okay, how does they make money? At the end, they have different revenue streams that are in now. This pilot is not really working 100%, but at the end, we think that we can get money from lease or sale of these facilities, because these are different modules, small modules that you can bring in a truck, put on the port, and they clean the water there. Also, is a tailored because you can bring as much as modules as you want or as you need. For example, if the water is really, really bad, then maybe you can put 3, 4, 5 modules to increase the efficiency. Or if the place is very, very big. And so, and this every module we have a different price, and we can get the revenue from the lease or the sale and the maintenance. The objective now is to test these results and then try these 2 different options for the revenues. And we'll see what is better when we start selling these modules. Please, next slide. Thank you. As I said before, the pilot is right now working in Alicante port. We think that the TRL is around 5 or 6 because it's testing in more or less real environment. We are closing different agreements with other ports to test these modules next year in other ports in the Mediterranean. We have measured more or less the operative cost and also the investment, the CapEx and the OpEx needed. Although since we are in a TRL that is only 5 or 6, probably these values will change. And also we are measuring these KPIs, meaning nutrients and also some biomass production, because one of the value proposition characteristics that we mentioned is that you can sell this macroalgae to the industry. So it's important for us to see how much they can get for this production, because the concept of circularity is very related with this creation of this production of the macroalgae. Please, next slide. Thank you. Well, where are the problems right now? First of all, that in doing these agreements, we have found that there is a hard-to-reach market. Okay, the ports are not small companies; they are very difficult structures. You need to meet different people from the same organization, and the negotiation maybe takes a lot. But also we found out that once one port take one solution, is usually replicated in other ports easily, because they can talk a lot among them. They can see the pilot working. So I think this will be a barrier that will be easily overcome once we finish this testing. Also, obviously, the competition. As I mentioned before, there are other easy solutions that we are competing right now, but that will be also a matter of time. And the third barrier, I think, is probably common to all the pilots, is the technical issues. Since we are creating this new innovation, we are facing new problems that we didn't really understand at the beginning. But thankfully, with partnerships that University of Murcia is here, different universities, different partners for all the consortium, they are bringing solutions and helping to overcome these difficulties. Next slide, please. And that's all for my part. Just if you are more interested about that, please contact us. You have here the website of the project, and we will be also more than happy to answer every question you have at the end of this presentation. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Jose. Susanna, do we want to make the question and answer project by project or at the end? How would you prefer?
I mean, initially we thought maybe after if the project, if there's already a specific question to this project, we can take it now. But since time is a bit tight, we can also, if I don't see any raised hand or question in the chat in the next, I don't know, 30 seconds, I would move to the next project. And after the 3 presentations, we can still have common time for all the questions regarding all the 3 thematic projects.
Thanks. So it must be clear for all. So if we have some question also for To Be Blue, maybe it comes in mind in the next hour, please submit even in the chat or by raising your hand. So let's go to the Green Smart Med project. That's very basic. The strong point is actually use the 4-helix methodology for guiding SME to select citable financial tools. They are really focusing and centered on regional strategies. They are able to support the de-risking innovation and assessment capability of SME and of idea. They are they are providing already good concrete outcomes in one of the pilots and are collecting feedback for fine-tuning from the actors of this pilot. There is initial hesitation of the external people, the external actors, like for lack of knowledge on circularity, financial structures, financial capability. And they have some questions and good points for you. I leave the floor, to the Green Smart Med and our speaker.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for hosting us today. My name is Agapi Teftiki.
Thank you.
I'm a research associate at the Center for Research and Technology in Greece. More specifically, I work for the branch of Ptolemaida in the region of Western Macedonia. Today with me, I think, is Valentina Oliviero from QM, another project partner from the Green Smart Med project, and Beatrice Colombo from the University of Bergamo, who coordinates the project. So Green Smart Med is a project that aims to promote green manufacturing, the adoption of green manufacturing from SMEs. The project focuses on 5 target sectors: agri-food systems, textiles, plastics, mobility and batteries, and machinery. Today we will be focusing on agri-food. Next slide, please.
I cannot hear you. Is this the slide or the previous one?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Something with the glance. There's a problem with the connection, maybe.
I think there is a problem with the connection, yes, because we hear you, but half of the sentences are not, we don't hear them.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
We hear the second, yeah. Maybe if you keep talking without breaks, maybe it will, because it seems like every time there's a break that it takes a bit of time for the noise to, well, let's try.
Okay. Some words about the project itself. What Green Smart Med addresses. SMEs, although they have a very significant importance for regional economies, they often lack the organizational structure and financial capacity to invest in research and innovation. So this leads them to limited participation in collaborative activities. So how Green Smart Med addresses this problem? Of course, through its methodology, as Francesco said. We will talk about the methodology, a bit more detailed discussion about this in the next slide. As for the regions, the region we will be focusing on today is our region, the region of Western Macedonia. As for the methodology, As you can see here, it consists of specific steps. The first step is the regional ecosystem mapping. We identified the key actors of our regions in every of the five target sectors that are involved in the project. Then we identified key topics for research and innovation, focusing every time on the risk-free of each region. The establishment of the regional core groups followed. Here we have the quotable helix approach. We involve actors from SMEs, BSOs, public authorities, as well as general public and research and academia organizations. Within these core groups, many ideas have been developed. And then we move on to the next step, which is the assessment of the SME's capabilities. So we assess the capabilities and the needs of each SME through specific tools that have been developed within the project. More specifically, it is a questionnaire. So based on this assessment, we are able to identify funding tools that match with the SME's needs. And for the final stage of the methodology, we develop more the ideas that have been proposed by the SMEs in the earlier stages. And we also try to involve other regions, participating regions, but also not participating regions, so as to reach our last step, which is the regional or trans-regional cooperation initiative design, which can be translated to a new project. Next slide, please. So, what's the value proposition of the methodology? Why should an SME choose to implement this methodology and be part of these core groups? The point that should be highlighted here is that the Green Smart Man methodology has a holistic approach, combining all these elements, starting from the risk-free focused innovation strategy, the quotable helix approach, the capability assessment, which offers tailored made solutions, and of course, the involvement of other regions that provide transregional collaboration and improves SMEs' potential to participate in cross-border European funding programs are very important. Of course, as we're talking about circular economy projects, the methodology prioritizes circularity principles. It guides SMEs to adapt circular business models, starting from the design phase until the last step of the creation of a solution or a project. Next, please. So we are not talking about a specific business case here, but as for the economic viability, we ensure that this methodology guides SMEs to select the most suitable financial tools based on their needs and capabilities, as I mentioned before, and thus develop economic viable solutions. Of course, roles and responsibilities among stakeholders of the core groups are clarified since the beginning of the establishment of these groups. And each one of the entities, as you can see here, has its a specific role. So next, please. As for the maturity level of the methodology, we need to mention that at this phase, the methodology is at its pre-validated stage, so it's not finalized yet. An assessment process is ongoing right now. The assessment is being done based on the SME's feedback, based on their experience by implementing the methodology and being part of the core groups. Of course, based on the feedback of the other quotable helix actors and our feedback by helping SMEs implement this methodology. So based on these results of the evaluation, the methodology will be fine-tuned in order to be improved. We will have the validated, the finalized version after the fine-tuning, and then it will be ready to be transferred into other regions that did not participate initially in the project. Next, please. So some of the difficulties we encountered so far and how we overcame these difficulties. Um, at first, we observed some hesitation, mainly from small SMEs to participate in the regional core groups. Some of them perceived the whole process as time-consuming or overly academic. Some of them thought that it was lacking guaranteed and immediate results. They wanted immediate results. So how did we overcome this difficulty? We had one-to-one meetings with them, giving emphasis on the assessment process of their needs so as to demonstrate that the methodology is directly responsive to their specific needs and weaknesses. And another difficulty that we encountered was the lack of knowledge in ESG and innovation aspects. Again, mainly smaller enterprises were not so familiar with ESG terms, or they had a wrong perception of what innovation is. So in order to solve this problem, we again had one-to-one meetings with them, as well as targeted capacity building sessions in collaboration with other quotable helix actors in order to clarify those terms. So next, please. So for the last part of the presentation, I have prepared a few, I promise, a few slides about the Greek case, about the regional core groups that we have established in the region of Western Macedonia. As you can see, we have selected the agri-food sector as our target sector, and under the umbrella of agri-food, two core groups have been established, one in the wine sector and one for the dairy sector. Here you can also see some of the pictures from the meetings we had with our core groups in person and online. Next, please. So why did we choose agri-food? Of course, due to its strategic importance for our region. Agri-food holds a dominant position within the context of the region's RIS3. It is recognized as a critical sector for the economic reconstruction of the region after the coal phase out. For those of you who don't know our region, the region of Western Macedonia is currently under energy transition. So we're trying to adapt greener ways to produce energy. We're trying to phase out coal. So agri-food is a key pillar of the territorial just transition plan. And of course, another motivation for us to choose agri-food was the presence of two clusters, one for the wine sector and one for the dairy sector. So we thought that it would be a great idea to leverage the already established and existing ecosystem. And some numbers, 26 SMEs have been involved so far in this process. Public authorities, of course, several business support organizations, as well as the University of the region, the University of Western Macedonia. And next, please. And some outcomes so far, as we're talking for circular economy, we have some top solutions that have been identified from our core groups during our meetings. The first solution, the top solution that wineries have identified, and they have expressed their exquisite interest to develop further, is the creation of a composting unit for the valorization of the winery's biowaste. The compost will be used as a natural soil improver for their vineyards. And some of them, mainly the bigger ones, are very interested into taking this a step further and use the biorefinement processes to produce byproducts with high added value that could be used in other processes or can be sold to other industries, so to make a profit. And for the dairy sector, the top solution that has been identified is the utilization of whey for the production of other products as well as biogas. And in transregional level, we will be working, the whole consortium, we will be working to design collaborative initiatives among our core groups from all our regions. And next, I think it's the last one. So yeah, as I mentioned before, within the next months, we will be transferring the methodology also to other regions. So I would like to ask all of you to join us to do so in the Med area, to turn proven results into regional policy and competitive advantage. This is the final message I would like to share with the audience. And yes, that's all from my side about Green Smart Med. Thank you very much for your attention. And any questions, of course, are welcome. I will be glad to answer it.
Thank you, Agapi. So there will be, I guess, for sure, several questions from the audience. I think that we have to go on the carbon farming med, if you all agree, and shift all the question at the end, if you all agree. And I'm looking at you, Susanna. I'm talking about all, but I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you again.
Let's do that. I saw there's one question in the chat, probably
yes,
to be blue.
Please.
But I think there's already an answer as well that Amelia answered.
Okay, so let's.
But, yep. Let's go to the next presentation, and then we have questions together.
This is another. Thank you, Susanna. Sorry. This is another very interesting project that is more related to a platform. So the business, the core business is based on fee on platform services. And the very interesting part is that they are able, or they are trying to be able, to build on carbon credit and build on scalable modular, scalable model, business model for that uses carbon credit to advance to develop a long-term profitability and to enhance and improve and whatever you can you want to think about, but it's very important on the spreading the information about carbon markets, on voluntary carbon markets. And also this platform reduces the complexity of accessing to supporting services for who works on carbon credit. They are on the midway, much more advanced with TRL 6.7, with some financial model to be refined, and KPIs are already tracked. They have some problem, like all the initiatives, to harmonize data and alignment with EU frameworks, and still some policy gap. But I mean, I'm going to leave the floor to our speaker on carbon farming med.
Okay, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Mayra. I work for the Beta Technological Research Center, and now I am collaborating in the carbon farming med project. So let's go. Next slide. Well, the carbon farming med project is focused on making Mediterranean agricultural both profitable and sustainable. The idea is quite simple. Farmers can help to mitigate climate change by adopting regenerative practices that capture carbon on soils, but they need right tools and financial support. That's where carbon farming comes in. We are developing a science-based, business-oriented framework that helps farmers to participate in the voluntary carbon credits markets. So we developed two tools. One is an IT platform. This is a digital tool that helps user in the carbon certification process, because if you know it, it's a very complex process. So in the platform, users can enter all the information of a farm, the key data, the crops, the soil practice, and the system calculates the removals. That is the carbon sequestration's potential. It also estimates the reduction of the greenhouse gases. And it also includes a pre-filed Berra-based project design document, the template of the Berra certification. And so in this way, the project developer can manage their full certification workflow from the design to the monitoring and the reporting. And the second tool is an techno-economical model to assess the profitability of the regenerative practice, but it also simulates different business scenarios scenarios, including when a farm entered to a carbon certification scheme. And the project, the Carbon Farming Med, is targeted at project developers, farmers, cooperatives, also other carbon market actors, advisors, financial institutions, and policymakers. Next, please. Value proposition. The Carbon Farming Med creates value on multiple levels. For farmers, it means simplify access to carbon markets. Economically, it shows that the regenerative practice can actually be profitable. And for circular perspective, the project generates a loop of data, knowledge, and finance. So the farmers can transform their data, generating incomes and reinvest in sustainable practice. And also we have a pilot success in Spain and in Italy. Next, please. The business model. Well, the business model is modular and scalable. The platform can adapt to different crops and regions conditions in the Mediterranean, because this is a tool specific for the Mediterranean. The revenue model would come mainly from platform service, and the shared value, that is that partners contribute development and technical expertise, while farmers provide data and benefit from better market access. The model brings together research, digital advisors, and farming sector, and create a collaborative ecosystem. Next, please. The maturity of the tools. In the case of the techno-economical model, I would say it is a TRL 656, because we are still tasted in another crop. It was tasted in vineyard. And for the IT platform, I would say it is 6 or 7. There are several modules are operational, but are being tested with pilots in Spain and Italy. And well, the financial model, we have to refine it, but everything is mainly service fees. And indicators, the environmental is the carbon sequestration and reduction in GHG emissions. The economic is the farm profitability, and the social, the farmer engagement. Next, please. And the barriers to solve, the technical, harmonizing data. Here we found that there is a lot of data that we have to organize. So we solve it via a modular and an interoperable platform architecture. In the case of the methodological barriers, we found that the need for a standardized carbon account methods across the region. So we aligned the method to the regulation of the European Union, and also to the voluntary market frameworks. In this case, we follow the BERRA framework, that is one of the most known certifications. And in the economic, we are still, and we hope that all the projects help to this, to the limit current interest in the carbon finance within agriculture. And about the policy, there is a lack of unified model to certify carbon removals unit. Fortunately, the CRCF, in the European Union, is now regulating that. And the last one, so as a discussion, I put here some questions, but I understand we have limited time. But just say that the carbon farming we understand that the Mediterranean carbon market is still young, but we also believe that it is full of potential. So we are trying to make carbon farming not only a climate solution, but also business opportunity to the Mediterranean agriculture. And that's it from my side.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Susanna, I leave the floor to you.
Yes.
Sorry, 1 second. Tell me.
No, I just wanted to say that we already have our next speaker with us, Nikolai Jacobi. But before jumping to the next section, I would still give a bit of a time for any potential questions. I see that I think for the last project for carbon farming met, there are some questions in the chat. So there's a question from Lorenzo Zamorano asking whether there are any water credits in place that is bankable or traded. And then there's another part, and are there any carbon credits allocated when agriculture water reuse is provided for water treatment? Where can we check the prices and how is it traded?
Well, our project focus on carbon and sequestration, so I don't know about water credits. And about water treatment also, it is not, we are not taking account that. We just are taking account the management of the water in crops, but to be honest, I don't know about water credits.
Yes, makes sense. I don't know if there are any other questions. You can still, if something comes up, you can still write them in the chat. Yeah, thank you, Lorenzo. You can still write them in the chat later. We might have a bit of time at the very end to go back to these. If I don't see any hands raised right now, I think we can go to the next section. So
Okay,
thank you, all the 3 projects. Yeah.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. I mean, this is very important. This is because there are so many variables when you define the maturity of a project or a pilot or whatever is important for initiative in circular economy. These are 3 nice overview of the potentiality. So before giving the floor to Nikolai, I just want to spend 1 slide. So we will see the definite CCRI tool for assessing. And sorry. Okay. So Nicola will show us some lesson learned for supporting circular business and the assessment tool to identify gaps and prioritize action. Let me introduce with 1 slide what is the definite CCRI project. Those who doesn't know, who still do not know. The project brings together high-impact circularity projects and funding institutions to boost the transition to a circular economy and to attract investment. There are 6 main communities that work within the definite CCR project, that are the Leuven in Belgium, the Nokia in Finland, Reykjavik in Iceland, Leuven also in Belgium, and Ghent in Belgium, and Roubaix in France. There is a lot of activities that they are doing, and the circularity tool provides guidance and recommendation, assess the progress, and also provides a connection with an evaluation guidebook. This is very interesting and complete tool. This is the link, and I guess I have to leave the floor now. And Susanna, I will stop my sharing, right?
Yes, I believe Nikolai wanted to share his screen.
Okay, sorry, to took 3 slides more.
We can see with him.
Please, sorry, I am.
That's fine,
Okay.
yes. Should I share, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you have your own presentation, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, if you're able to, yeah, it looks like you are, so good. Okay. Thank you and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Susanna, and thank you, Francesco, for the invite. I'm Nikolai Jacobi from ICLEI Europe, and I'm there in the team of Circular Economy dealing with a project around bankability, including also the definite CCRI project, which, as Francesco has said, is one of the CCRI's PDA projects, supporting businesses, but also cities or local governments that are engaged in circular initiatives in making their projects more investment ready. And we've done so. We've been coordinating this project also from our side together with our partners, Bankers Without Boundaries, Circular Economy in the Netherlands, the Technical University of Athens, and also the city of Ghent as a city partner that actually contributed also from their perspective into the project. And we have done with, well, and you saw two more actually projects that also Francesco mentioned on the website, which we also supported. But we have had a bit of a phased approach of support. So initially, this is what the image, what you see here is what we call deal engine. This is, let's say, the overall, let's say, method. I'm just quickly introducing this because the tool that I'm then going to describe is based on this as well, or sort of reflects these steps. So this is a process that starts with a sort of a pipeline mechanism, an open call, where we had essentially 11 projects that came in. Sorry, there were more essentially, but then it doesn't matter that much. Then we had a bit of a shortlisting process to end up with let's say the more suitable ones, and then followed by quite an in-depth assessment looking at the sort of technical and technology and impact related aspects of the project and of the solution on the one hand side, and then the sort of financial revenue streams, business model related aspects on the other side, and then after that, basically ending up supporting 4 projects in quite in depth with sort of in-person meetings, consultancy type work, calculating indicators for them, and so on. So this type of due diligence work that is required to then sort of enter into the appraisal phase, where we brought these projects together with investors that we had engaged with prior, and then after this initial, let's say, solicitation of investor interest and sort of also what they any additional requirements they might have on these projects, we entered into a negotiation phase, which is still the last phase here, also on this picture, and then essentially ended up soliciting a couple of private investments. Speaking only about private investors in this case, mostly impact investors, obviously, which are interested in engaging in sustainability projects. But not talking about project grants or public grants or these types of money, let's say. Having said this, then the circularity tool is one of the, let's say, usable outputs of the project, because the project obviously had its core work not producing tools, but rather supporting these projects, and that's what we did. But the circularity tool, as I said, reflects the deal engine process and kind of like aims to fast track any venture developers, could be SMEs, could be startups, could be local governments that are engaged in project development. For instance, as part of their climate city contracts, when you think about cities engaged in the EU climate mission, for instance, in guiding them through this process. And the tool itself has 2 modules. So one is kind of a self-assessment module. We call it readiness module. And then the other module is related to training, and it consists essentially of a number of narrated videos, which are scripted and narrated, as they're quite nice to watch. So they're not really like webinars or something, which are also nice to watch, but sometimes can be a bit lengthy. So this is a quite nice tool in this sense. And the first 2 modules, let's just dive into one as an example. is really meant to basically look whether the project aligns with the overarching objectives of the. Oh no, I see there's a mistake. Aligns with the overarching objectives of the CCRI as an initiative, but also to check whether it complies with basic quality criteria as well, in terms of how well the problem is described, whether the market is understood. Then there's a part on the technical information. It's all single choice or sometimes multiple choice that basically assesses this sort of principal information at the very beginning. Then there's a tab on the financial information, just to understand also whether what types of prior conversations the project developers have had. Do they have an understanding of the type of grants or the type of funding they're looking for? Is it blended? Is it seed? Is it later on? The maturity of the project in general. So all of this information is basically captured in this first part. There's also a short section on a cross-sectional score around environmental and socioeconomic impact. And then you get at the end a score, which is coming now, which is displayed here in this sort of simple kind of spider diagram, and then there's a threshold on the score, which basically tells you or gives you like a quick feedback whether the project is ready to proceed or not, or whether there's fundamental stuff missing. So in this test trial, of course, the score is quite low, and then the same, or not the same, but going more in depth, then you can do the readiness module, which then goes kind of reflecting the deal engine step, where we had these sort of deep dive assessments into the projects. This is basically the same, but in a more superficial manner, obviously. And that looks then more in depth at the sort of business model and revenue streams. Again, in a sort of a single choice or multiple choice fashion. It looks at the circularity aspect of the project, also in some looking at some sort of quantifiable indicators around circularity and secondary material use, and these types of things, and then also gives you a score and sort of a green light to proceed or not. And then once you have done this, or basically having sort of an overall overview on, let's say, the maturity of the project, I think this can be used basically also as a checklist. I think that the score is not the most accurate thing in the world, I would say, but I think it gives project developers an overview, either when they're at the very beginning and they really don't know what to watch out for. I think that can be the case, but also when they are, let's say, a little bit more mature and they are not yet 100% sure what the exact sort of steps are that they need to watch out for, and that is can I think definitely give some guidance, especially then when you look into the training modules, because there it goes quite in detail. Now I clicked on the third module just so I'm not losing you. And that one, for instance, when you dive into the technical due diligence, has things like making the product market fit. It talks about social impacts. It talks about decarbonization as a service, understanding material flows, and then also diligence from project owners. And these videos are quite nice. I'm not sure if I can click on one and you hear it. Probably this is not the case, but you can check them out yourself also. They're narrated by one person, so it's pleasant to watch. Let's say it's not very long either, but I think gives sufficient detail to then delve deeper if that's what your project needs in that moment. I think. And then you can basically click here once you've watched these videos, just to also manage a bit your progress. And then the tool shows you that you have completed this module as well. And then the same is on the financial diligence. There's a video for beginners. Then there's sort of an overview. And then there's strategic pricing and market assessment, which is, of course, an important component. There's a masterclass on financial modeling. There's company valuation, capital raising, and use of funds. And then there's legal and regulatory preparation and risk management. And that essentially concludes it in terms of the tool. Yeah, again, in a nutshell, being a tool that has these two self-assessment modules, providing I think a rough overview on the status of the project, but also on the steps that are needed to get there, essentially. And then I think even more usable or more attractive and valuable these training videos that are then related to how to follow through this process. And lastly, I just wanted to show you or just delve or share some conclusions we had thinking about the lessons learned from the project, but also the thinking about how to continue some of these services, which is of course something we are also aiming to. Is that basically the type of service delivery is really key. So I think while this tool obviously is a good way of capturing this process for an external non-project audience and to sort of try to get the word out there, but I think it does not substitute hands-on support on some of these issues, especially if it's a bigger project. So having guidance is not really the only thing I think needed. We basically saw that capital raised is a bit of an imperfect measure also when it comes to circular economy impact. A lot of these initiatives that we supported, which included a product, kind of a reusable pallet wrap, a library of things, and then 2 circular hubs. So repurposed buildings in Robin and in Finland, and especially those projects also generated quite a bit of an awareness impact, mobilizing a number of people there, having conversations that are not necessarily measurable, but are quite impactful. And the same argument I think goes for higher R strategies when you think about sufficiency, for instance, and these types of super high R strategies that it is not always straightforward to find a good business model for sometimes, because they are anti-consumption, if you will, sometimes, and therefore there's a bit of a bias between raising large amounts of capital and then having very high impact R strategies on the other side. And then circular economy investment challenges are not usually circular economy challenges. The investment challenges we see are sometimes systemic or sort of interlinked barriers that are related to market dynamics, for instance, to financing and accounting norms, which are often still or quite a bit in the world of a linear economy. Sometimes investors don't really have, or in some cases don't have yet the tools also to make circular or more sustainable projects appear less risky, and to fully understand them, because their tools are focused on other types of projects. But we also saw that they want to learn. So it's not like, they want to invest in these projects. They just sometimes don't know how to. So there's another quite useful insight that we thought that working with investors and is also an important thing to do. It's not only the project owners and developers and policymakers and so on, but also the investors themselves. Yeah, and that, I think maybe I can leave it at that, not to take too much time away. But do you have any questions?
Thank you, Nikolai. I'm sure a lot of people have. I have a question for you, Emin.
Yes.
For first, thank you for provided for opening the window for actual evidence that circular economy initiatives are multidimensional, not only business initiatives, but they are very different ones. So thank you a lot. I have a question. Is this tool free for use, or one should be registered, or how can someone use your tool?
You can just use it. It's free for use. The videos are free for use. They are uploaded and they're embedded into YouTube, but they're accessible through this platform.
Okay. Also for having the feedback and the evaluation guidebook. The project evaluation guidebook. I mean, something that is very interesting because, I mean. Because you provided again an evidence of the existing tool, and this is a circular economy tool based hands-on circular economy that is quite easy to use, very user-friendly. That translated somehow the few slides that I discussed 1 hour ago before you came here, and I discussed about the existing of these tools. So this is very interesting one. So if any one of these or people today wants to check it, it is very an interesting one and provides a very good assessment.
Yes, you can also see the link to the tool in the chat in case you want to check it out. So you have the link there. And if you have any questions now, you can also write them in the chat or raise your hands in case there's any comments.
I can also share my email in the chat, and you can contact me if you want later as well.
Yes, that's also a good idea. So yeah, and I see a raised hand. So go, Valentina. The floor is yours.
Hi everyone. Thank you for this presentation. I'm Valentina Oliviero from QUAIM and actually engaged in GrisMatmed, but not only in GrisMatmed. But my question is about these tools. I think these tools can be very useful for us to improve our project and assess the circularity of our project, our results and so on. But this kind of activity are not planned within our project, let's say so. And I don't know if this kind of activity, the assessing activity, is not part of the program rule and task for us. So is the program checking our activities? Is the program checking our circularity, the value our project? I don't know if this kind of activity that can be a further activity to improve our projects can be, let's say, overlapping with the program rules. I don't know if I'm unclear about this.
Hi, Valentina. I can try to provide a very quick answer because this is pretty much related with the Interreg Euromed structure. So no, currently there's no obligation on projects to follow further assessments. This is exactly the process as Susanna introduced in the beginning. So we are now into the capacity building session that the governance project is delivering toward thematic projects of the Interreg Euromed community, and we basically proceeded by checking and understanding your training wishes and needs. We translated those wishes and needs into as much as we could, actionable and concrete outputs. This is a bit the nature of the training we are proposing. So actually, those are a set of resources that we are trying to make available for you for further use, but there's no obligation. Of course, this is up to thematic projects to decide to which extent to use them. What I would add is that through the thematic working groups, I'm sorry, Nicolai, if those language will sound a bit unknown to you, but this is the Interreg Euromed jargon with different consolidated activities. We are making a work into thematic working groups to identifying demo sites for that will then feed with the results the white paper and the other papers of Interreg Euromed. And this is somehow a very complementary and integrative work in that direction. But straight direction to your question, no obligation. Our greatest extent of promoting complementarity with existing activities. We are trying to answer to your needs with further inputs.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Francisco.
May I add one thing? It's important. Yes, just one thing to what Francesco said. This is a tool, an example of a tool, a working tool for projects and initiatives that wants to actually understand how much they can create the medium to long-term impact and implementation and acquisition from the market. So maybe it's not the case of all the projects, but this is very valid tool. But I am looking, I am reading the chart. There are other projects that are working on, if not similar, but on the same direction in building some kind of frameworks on evaluation frameworks or something similar. I mean, this is something that is important for all the projects, however. And I don't know how many hours it takes to build. I know maybe Nicola, for having a global, fulfilling all the information in the tool, how many hours or minutes or days a project needs.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And we also tried to answer this, I think, there's one of these, let's say, overview videos that explain, basically says what I just said. There's another video on that as well, just explaining the tool. And there we say, I think, for the assessment, but it's of course a really hard estimate to make, because to fill in to basically go through the information to click the buttons in the self-evaluation doesn't take much time at all, obviously, and the time to sort of do the work it also hugely depends. But we are estimating something like I don't know, a few days for this pre-readiness module, and then something like 30 to 90 days or something for the readiness module, which includes all of these, this information, which includes things like creating a financial model, creating a sort of a revenue stream model from scratch, calculating potential impact indicators, all of this stuff. If you assume that you do this from scratch, that will be, our like very rough assessment that it takes, 30 to 90 days or something. But that's, it's not a very, it's an assumption.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's clear. So it's not, the tool is very easy. The issue is on the information you have to use to fill the tool, right? And you have to build this information if you don't have a time. That's what
exactly.
What
exactly.
Okay,
you have to build this information, and currently we are trying to build also to offer these services as a spin-off. Also thinking about well, I think if somebody wants to contact us, our partners on this issue, we are happy to also help. But then there are also other let's say projects and facilities, project preparation facilities that are also helpful on that. So what the tool does is not do the work for you, but help you understand what the things are that you need in order to meet and convince investors, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you have answered to another issue that I was talking when you were not here. So when I show those few slides with the reduced, framework, assessment framework with only 3 items. It fits exactly in your kind of projects, in which roughly I know that you have all those information, even if not now, maybe at the end of the project, and you don't need to build a lot of additional information. On the other hand, you will not have, it can be used only for a preliminary analysis, rough analysis, and not for a full analysis like the one from CCRI. Must be clear that. But I mean, this is why I show you those few slides about this little framework. Susanna, we have to proceed, right?
I mean, technically, yes, but I mean,
Few
it's up to
slides.
us. If it's an interesting discussion, we can keep it going for a
No,
bit. But yeah, we have 20 minutes left.
Yeah. I think 5 minutes I can spend for these few slides, and then we can open. If there is no other question on other hand raised.
Yeah, I don't see any hands. Again, as if something comes up later, you can post it in the chat. But yeah, I guess we can now slowly move to the last section of today's webinar.
Can you see it? Because I
Yes.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Perfect. So now this last part is to show you the feedback, a short feedback we received from the last training, and maybe raise some question, some open question and answer. So some statistical consideration and an open discussion. The first is the result of an open question that was what is the biggest challenge in making your circular economy project investment ready? And these are the answers received. Funding, human resources, prices, perception of the product, funding is doubled, it's refused on my slide. Environmental issues, that is policy environmental issues, consumer behavior, planning and time allocated to finalize the project for the investment, and finding a correct market needs for that idea, and the structure of the financial part and business part at the beginning, understanding the market needs, and finding customers with willingness to pay and use the solution or the service the projects are developing. These are the typical issues of whatever a research or coordination action. It is normal. And okay, this is roughly what we have discovered, and maybe the goal is that some of these questions, some of these doubts could be started to be smoothed with the presentation of today. Sorry. So, primary needs and interest, it's a multiple choice, so the sum is more than 100%. So, okay. So don't be surprised. So the most important, most relevant is the engagement requirement of participant, engagement with private sector partners effectively. So this is the thematic projects. So there is a big need to engage with private sector partners. Then several of them have expressed the need to develop a sustainable business case because they are forced, not for they are required to. The secure funding for circular economy project is 25%, and scale solution beyond the project duration, and demonstrate financial viability to stakeholders. These are the needs that we have discovered last time, and it is clear the global direction of the thematic projects that need somehow but to go behind the project itself and to build something that creates not only knowledge as they are doing now, but also an impact in the medium to long term. And you can only do by overcoming some barriers and also engaging external stakeholders. And this is a question that this is the same question that we have asked at the beginning, okay? But they are different audience. So where does your project stand with the business model development? Okay, still need to assess the project, the business model, starting to explore business model options. They are more than 25%. We have idea, but we have to refine the approach, and we have a clear business model and actively looking for investment. The minor part of that. Oh, it is clear that it is this is 100%. Okay, so this is exactly a presentation, and it is clear that the maturity of the business idea of the thematics project still have to is still not complete, because more than half, we are talking about how many, roughly 70% of the projects still have to understand how to build better the business model. And again, I hope that today we have provided a little bit of information to start raise knowledge, awareness about the potentiality that you can create and the other projects can create on the value of the idea. The most occurring case, I mean, we are matched the two answers. So the pioneer training needs and the business model development. The most occurring case is we need to engage private sector, but we still need to access our project could benefit from business modeling expertise. This is an interesting information that we have. I mean, the projects know where to go, and but still don't know which tools or with which knowledge, with which information go to private sector. And I mean, again, the goal of the session today was also to provide you with at least a primary definition of the information that you have to provide to private partners that are banks or private investors. So you can use these tools or the other kind of maturity, or you can start preparing some information or making a short checkbox on what you have in hand, what you can build within the timing and the resources of the project to approach a private sector partner, to understand how much or to which extent your information at the end of the project are actually interesting or usable by the private sector. The second most interesting one is occurring one is we are required to develop a business case, but we are just starting to explore business model option. This is only a maturity issue. I mean, these projects need to develop better, need to finalize the project itself, or go further and behind the testing the project idea, testing the pilots if they are development project or not. Well, it is reasonable that still several projects have to explore business model option. And the other is we are required to develop a sustainable business case again, and we have business ideas, but need to refine our approach. This is much more interesting information because refining the approach to a business idea could be based on several elements. Much more of these elements have been discussed at the beginning with my slides at the beginning, but other elements could be checked in the tool discussed by Nikolai. So elements to refining the business approach could be ideas for refining the business approach could be taken from the slides or from the assessing tool. That would be very important for initiatives and projects that still do not have a clear idea on how to build better, how to proceed or build on building a business model and business idea. Then we have identified some areas of support, partnership, building and scaling. That means after, not because the partnership or the projects already exist, but after the project, when it's matter to create impact, it's important to build and scale the partnership. Impact measurement and risk management, these are very important. And you can build, all the projects can build within the project itself, within the duration of the project. And risk management, also impact measurement, can be built on the slides that I have discussed at the beginning of my presentation. The selection of a business model. This is an issue, an argument of the first training session, and I'm sure the slides and the material of the first training session has been already shared so far by Susanna, so you can find her if you are interested. How to plan the financial and how to pitch to investor and the expectation. Also, this information is included in the first training. There is enough material to to build on creating a list of content, a list of information you can provide to investors based on the experience of your project and the data that you can actually gather on the project. Upon all, the most important thing that belongs to all these 5 areas is that you need to fix, build, and validate a reliable KPI, success measures, but also impact measurement system. That means usable, retrievable, and solid, and also in time. So periodically monitoring performance of your idea of your business and the circularity, I mean the circular economy solution. Without KPI, without a good measurement, you are not reliable, or at least your reliability is very low, and it's absolutely difficult, if not impossible, to achieve any one of these. Planning or try to talk with investors without a framework of a monitoring framework is impossible. The selection of business model. The business model is built on parameters, and also impact measurement is parameter. I don't have to say more. And also partnership building. If you want to or have to include more partners or engage more partners or hook any kind of investors or whatever, business partner or business stakeholder, you have to provide them with a reliable and transparent framework that is able to analyze the performance, social, economic, which kind of impact, and also green one, economic of your initiative. And I don't have more to say. So coming back, we are reaching the end. So difficulties in defining criteria and parameters. We have gathered this information. So parameters are economic, social, risk analysis parameters, the impact parameters that are measuring the regulatory or policy impact, parameters for the social, market analysis, quality, and parameters that are needed to build on environmental certificate. criteria to build on are most difficult are financial plan, financial and policy alignment with country profiles. Again, these are difficulties we have detected, we have scouted in the projects, and okay, these are the difficulties, and you have to understand how to overcome them. When we talk about the measurability of your project, I will not bore you again on measurability of your project, but it is much more important that you understand how many data you have to, and you can for sure measure for build an economic or social framework. Sorry, for social framework analysis. Sorry for my voice. However, these are difficulties, and if you are encountering these difficulties, is normal. And maybe the slides today or the first session slide could help you in finding a solution on overcoming these difficulties, or the presentation made by the 3 projects today maybe can help you, can support you in finding a way on overcoming them. There are the last 2 questions. We are 4 minutes, Susanna. So yes, this is the last slide.
Well, almost, but yeah, last with some content. But yeah, well, I'm happy that you stayed with us until now. We had some questions ready for you to see if you're still up and awake. But maybe we don't have to. I mean, we can try, but since we're slowly closing, maybe we can rather ask once again whether there are any questions for either the thematic projects or Francesco or Nikolai, if he's still with us. This is the last chance to ask, either by raising your hand or by writing a question in the chat. We will, of course, it has been said before, we will share this presentation with you. We will also share the recording afterwards. So in theory, if some questions come up later, you could still reach out to either the projects or Nikolai, Francesco. Their emails will be there as well. But if there's any last reaction, comment, question, now is the time. I know it's been long. It's slowly getting dark outside. It's winter, but if there's still somebody up there with questions, we can try to answer them now. If not, these questions that you can see on the screen are in the same WooClub questionnaire we used before. So in case you're still logged into it or you want to log into it now, you can, and you can submit your answers there. So it's the exact same thing as it was before. Either you scan the QR code or you go to wooclub.com and you put the event code. But since we're kind of short on time, maybe I would just go to the very last slide or slides and wrap this up so that we are not running over time.
Oh, shall I?
So maybe just yeah, you can go to the next slide. But then yes.
This one.
So yeah, so this was just to mention that as we've mentioned before, the training sessions, they're happening throughout the whole year. We have training sessions that are specifically focused for the thematic projects, but then we also try to bring them to a bit wider audience. And so for next year, we're now thinking about what would we like to bring, what would we like to focus on. So this is still to be defined, but in case you're there, you see some of these topics that we saw came up before, that we saw some interest in these topics before, and we haven't had training sessions on them yet. So in case you're interested in some of these, you can let us know either now or maybe even sending an email later, so that we know that maybe there's an interest in one of these specifically, and we can focus some of the training sessions next year on these topics. Again, and if anybody feels like stepping in and raising their hand or commenting now, you can. But if not, we can also just go to the last slide.
Last.
Well, there's like last 2-3 slides,
one.
but But with this, I would just like to thank all of our speakers today, all of the participants. But yeah, firstly, Francesco, and then all the 3 thematic projects, 2B Blue, Green Smart Mat, and Carbon Farming Mat, as well as Nikolai. Thank you for joining us, for finding the time and sharing all your lessons and tools and theoretical basis for all of this. I hope this has been useful for you. We will share the main information. You can still reach out to us in case you have some more questions, something comes up, or you have some of your own lessons to share. That's also always good to know. This has been part of the innovative sustainable economy of Interreg Euromed mission. So if you are part of the mission or you're part of the Mediterranean, please connect with us, with other projects, share your lessons and share your insights. And thank you for joining us today. I don't know, maybe I would leave a few last words to Francesco since he's been doing most of the work today. So in case you want to close it, Francesco.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy because 2 hours is a long time without a break. And no, because I am happy that we have found a good balance between the theory, because theory is always theory, and practice. And it's very important. We have talked about actual problematics and actual findings of projects and actual needs of projects and how they overcome some difficulties because they are real. And also thanks to the work made by Clay and Nikolai by providing us, at a glance, what is required for the project to go on to start creating impact. Open the window and create an impact. That's why. I think that in 2 hours we made a very good work. That's it.
Yes. So thank you once again. We'll keep in touch, and we will share all the materials with you. Thank you and have a nice afternoon.